film begins with a person named John who is walking alone in the city at night. As he walks, he sees a person wearing a clown mask. But John does not worry and continues on his way. Then John shows his daughter, Emma, as a child. And John knows that these fantasies are happening to him because of his feeling of remorse for leaving his daughter, Emma, and her mother. A long time ago, he married another woman, and he had a daughter named Jess. Emma used to show John as he was walking towards the bridge when he arrived. He took out a picture of himself with his daughter from his pocket, then picked up his phone and called her, apologizing to her for everything he had done to her. He told her that he was trying to fix his mistakes and compensate her because he left her when she was young and did not ask about her during the past years. But Emma refused to listen to anything from her father and ended the call. At that time, the clown approaches John and puts his hand on his shoulder. John tells him while he is sad that Emma refused to forgive him. It appears that John was calling his daughter because the clown asked him to do that. It appears that this clown is a very evil person and possesses supernatural strength. Because of John's failure, the clown places a noose around his neck and takes control. While he was far away from him, he suffocated and threw him into the sea. The next day was John's funeral, and his daughter Jess was standing in front of his picture, and she was sad, while his daughter Emma was standing behind her. It appeared that she was not as sad about her father's death as her sister. Meanwhile, Will, Maddie, and Alexa, Jess's friends, come and join them, and they are surprised that Emma attended the funeral because they know that she has been away from her father and sister for a long time, and that she does not like to communicate with them at all. At this moment, Emma tells her mother that the funeral is over, and that she will rest from her trip and walk from the city. The second day, when her mother asks her about her sister Jess, she tells her that she asked to meet her before she traveled. During the call, she sees the clown dancing in front of her father's grave. So she is surprised by his behavior. She does not worry about it, but she is surprised when he disappears. The clown suddenly walks from the cemetery, and the clown is standing watching her from afar. And the person in charge of the graves comes. He asks the clown to leave the place, but he is surprised by him in front of the coffin. The old man pushes him and asks him to leave. Otherwise, he will tell the police about him, but they are surprised. He refuses to leave and asks his colleague to call the police and report the clown. His colleague takes out the phone to call the police, but he retreats when he sees that the old man has fallen to the ground. He hit his head on a rock and died. He discovers that someone tied the belt of his colleague's shoe, and this is the reason for his falling to the ground. When he finds the clown in front of him, it turns out that he is the one who did this to his colleague. And suddenly, this person feels suffocated and is unable to catch his breath. The clown approaches him and keeps hitting him on the back as if he is helping him. But he suffocates him more and pulls out of his mouth the apple that he was eating and kills him. Then the clown quietly comes out of the graves. And at night, Halloween celebrations begin in the city, and Emma leaves the hotel where she is staying and goes to the bar to meet her sister Jess. And Jess feels happy because Emma agreed to meet her, and it seems that Emma does not like Jess because she is the reason why she was deprived of her father for a while long. Jess starts telling Emma about her life, telling her that she feels lonely, and telling her that her mother died a long time ago. And after her father died, no one from her family was present in her life. It seems that Jess's words changed Emma's thoughts about her, and she decides to tell her about her life, telling her that she works in a band, and telling her about the situations that happened to her during her work. Then Jess shows Emma a picture of her with her father when she was young, and tells her that the picture was in his pocket. Always. Jess tries to tell Emma that her father was thinking about her, but she tells her that John is not her father, and that is because he never made her feel this way before, and that she does not remember anything about him except the torment he caused her and her mother. She knows that she has not forgotten the day he left them, nor has she forgotten her mother's terrors. Then they discovered that he married a second woman, gave birth to a child, and remained by their side all his life, and did not ask about her or her mother throughout the past years. Jess apologizes to Emma and makes her understand that she did not mean to upset her. But Emma refuses to listen to anything from her and leaves the place and walks away, which upsets Jess, and she goes to pay to leave. There is a man from the city present in the bar, and when he finds her sad, he asks her not to be sad about her father's death. He knows that he is her father's colleague at work, and that he has known her father for 15 years, and has not seen anything good from him. And he says he told her that her father was a very mysterious man, who had no dealings with anyone at all, to the point that everyone in the factory suspected him of babysitting evil spirits. And he told her that he suspected that her father did not commit suicide, and that it was the spirits that killed him. Understand that the time is not appropriate for this conversation. We go to Emma as she is returning to the hotel, and suddenly the clown appears in front of her and brings out cards for her to choose from. But she thinks that he is one of the Halloween celebrants and asks him to leave, and he walks away, and suddenly he appears in front of her again, and Emma gets tired. She runs away from him, enters the market, and continues to look at him until he leaves. Eric, the market owner, watches her, and she tells him that this person is bothering her. Eric seems to like Emma and tries to get to know her, but Emma repels him, buys a bottle of wine, and walks away. At the same time, the clown is walking in the street and sees two children taking candy from in front of a house. And when the little child sees him, he offers him candy. The clown approaches him, plays tricks, and gives him a lot of candy. When his brother sees him, he mocks the clown and tells him that this is an old trick. So the clown puts his hand in the bag of sweets, takes everything in it, and puts it in the little boy's bag. The older child gets upset and extends his hand to take the candy at that time. He finds the clown's hand coming out of the bag and holding his hand. The two children are frightened, and when they look at the clown, they find that his hand is not in its place. So they throw the sweets on the ground and run in front of him. At this time, Jess returns to her house and drinks a prohibited cigarette while watching the ghost movie. And suddenly, she sees the shadow of a person. He's standing behind the window and the door is banging. Start to open it, and her friends are coming to celebrate Halloween night together. Jess looks outside the house and doesn't find anyone standing at the window. So she goes in and sits with her friends, who keep talking about ghosts, and ask Jess if she will go to the horror festival with them like every year. So Jess is affected because her father was the one who went with her to this festival all the time. She leaves and goes to her room and looks at her picture with her father. Jess is horrified to find that her father has disappeared from the picture and is sitting behind her in the chair. Jess keeps telling herself that this isn't real, just preparations. And then she returns to her friends and tells them that she is going with them to the horror festival. We go to Emma, who is walking in the street and drinking wine until she gets drunk. And when she sees the police car, she hides the bottle in her clothes so that she will not be arrested. And suddenly, she finds the clown appearing in front of her and extending his hand to her. With playing cards, the one with him has to choose a card from them. So he chooses the card and draws until he finishes the trick he wants. Then she leaves him and walks away. But she finds him following her. So she runs through the alleys and shouts at him to stay away from her. Then the wine bottle falls on the ground and breaks. So the clown grabs a bottle of broken glass, and Emma believes that he wants to kill her. So she tells him that she is not afraid of death, and asks him to kill her and relieve her of the sadness she is experiencing. But he stabs himself and falls to the ground in front of her. The clown rises again and remains alive. So she is afraid of him and quickly runs in front of him. She went back to the market again and told Eric what had happened, but he did not believe her and thought that she was drunk and said anything. He asks her to leave the place or he will call the police. But Emma refuses to go and goes into the bathroom to wash her face. When she comes out, she meets two police officers and tells them about the clown who killed himself and came back to life again. They of course mock her and ask whether she is drinking something other than wine, because they learned from Eric that she had bought a whole bottle from him. Still, suddenly, the clown appeared in front of them, and they went out to him and asked him to remove the mask from his face. But he did not listen to their words and left and walked away. Suddenly, he appears behind Emma, and she is terrified and afraid of him. One of the policemen approaches him and asks him to remove the mask, but the clown ignores his words. And suddenly, the light goes out, and the clown hides the policeman's head from his body. Eric was terrified and ran away into the street, and Emma ran too, but she lost her balance, fell to the ground, and lost consciousness. The second policeman raised his gun on the clown, and the clown did not care and continued dancing with the rest of his colleague's body. So the policeman shot the clown, but the clown picked up the bullet and threw it away. At this moment, Emma gets the upper hand, leaves the market, and runs away. Then the clown gets rid of the police, goes out into the street, and continues on his way quietly at the same time. Jess is at the horror festival and sees her friend Maddie entering the clown's house. She starts calling her, but Maddie doesn't hear her, so she wants to go in after her friend. She finds a doll attached to the ceiling, so she thinks about the moment her father died and feels very sad, and tells her that she and her friends will be by her side. They'll never leave. And then they go back to their friends. Jess is still sad. So Maddie asks Will to take care of her until she goes and gets her something to drink. At this moment, she finds her father in front of her. So she approaches him and wants to talk to him. But she sees herself when she is young, running towards her father. At this time, the clown sits in front of Will and performs a magic trick for him. Will is amazed by what the clown is doing, but the clown takes Will's teeth and takes out his eyes as well. When Maddie and Alex see what's happening, they run to Will to help him, but he falls to the ground and dies. So Alex calls out to Jess to get away and leave him there. The clown hits him, and he falls to the ground and dies. Then he goes to Jess, and Maddie asks Jess to run away quickly. But the clown controls her with his magic power, and she goes crazy until she falls to the ground and dies. We return to Emma, who is still trying to escape from the clown, and suddenly her mother calls her, and is surprised that she is afraid of a clown, even though she has been strong all her life and is not afraid of anything. Emma is shocked by her mother's words and asks her how she knew about the clown's story. Suddenly, the clown appears in front of her, and here she realizes that he is the one talking to her, not her mother. Emma curses him and asks him what he wants from her. So the clown tells her that her sister Jess is good and better than her. When he was with her, she never spoke badly about her. So Emma feared for her sister and asked where she was. The clown was surprised by Emma's interest in her sister, even though she refused to approach her and abandoned her. She had two choices: to walk away and forget everything that happened, or to continue the game. So Emma told him that she would not leave the city unless she checked on her sister. First, the clown is happy with her decision and shouts at her. Then he points towards the bridge, and she sees her father there. So she runs to him and finds him with a noose wrapped around his neck. Her father tells her that she is the cause of his death, and this is because he begged her to hear him and accept his apology. But she refused, and suddenly he put a noose around her neck. He tells her that she was the one who should have died, not him. Emma becomes tired when she finds the rope being pulled, and she falls from the bridge. But she is surprised when she falls into the graves where her father was buried. When she wakes up, she finds her sister Jess, who was a child, standing in front of her and telling her that her father left her alone and that she is lost on the road and does not know the way back. But Emma tells her that she is not real, and she leaves Jess and walks. Then Emma sees Jess running towards her father, and they enter a house in the cemetery, and he appears. The clown asks Emma to follow them. And as soon as Emma enters the house, she finds her father sitting playing with Jess, so he approaches her. He told her that he knew that she too wanted him to play with her, like he did with her sister. He knows that he did not love her or her mother, and that is why he left them. When he felt his mistake and regret, then he takes out a knife and stabs himself with it. His daughter, Emma, cries, and suddenly her older sister, Jess, appears to her, carrying the knife, giving it to her, and asking her and not feel remorse for the rest of her life. But she is aware that this is a trick carried out by the clown, and this is to make her feel guilty and kill herself as he did with her father. So Emma grabbed the knife and stabbed Jess and told her that this is not real, but she is surprised that she is in another place, and Jess falls to the ground and is on the verge of death. The clown appears and is happy about what happened, but Emma attacks him and stabs him. She does not regret anything. She did it in her life, and at that time, the clown leaves the place and walks away. After that, we see Emma standing in front of her father's grave and telling him that she was not the reason for his death, and that his feeling of remorse was the reason, and that she will never leave this feeling. He completely controls her, and suddenly the clown appears next to her. But she completely ignores her and leaves and walks. And then she goes to the bar to sit with her sister and her friends.